European Union criticized by Polish MEP over budget row. Sign up to receive our rundown of the days direct to your inbox. Subscribe. When you subscribe, we will use the information you provide to send you these newsletters. Sometimes they'll include recommendations for other related newsletters or services. Our privacy notice explains more about how we use your data and your rights. You can unsubscribe at any. The Bloc was able to unite during Brexit negotiations, unanimously backing negotiator Michel Barnier before Brussels and London reached a deal. But with Brexit complete and economic turbulence as a result of the pandemic plunging Europe into crisis, relations between member states and Brussels have. This was seen during negotiations for the Budget and Recovery Fund last year, as the Netherlands looked to protect its. At one stage during the talks last February, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte said, "I cannot sign up to this. The proposal is simply not good." His country is one of 4 net contributors to the EU, and Mr. Rutte wanted to limit the overall size of the budget to 1% of gross national income. He argued he could not sign up to a budget that allocated 1/3 for cohesion funds to develop poorer regions and another third on support. The Bloc was eventually able to reach an agreement, but the budget debate epitomized Dutch frustration. The Netherlands is one of the frugal nations, which tends to argue for conservative spending. Senior research fellow at the Center for European Reform, Rem Korteweg, warned in 2017 that the Dutch were falling out of love with the EU amid disputes over fiscal and political power. The perception that the Dutch were left paying the bill while other countries flouted the rules became fertile ground for Eurosceptic politicians, the expert added. Hans Vollaert, an expert in Dutch and European politics at Utrecht University, wrote for the London School of Economics that there are no countries in the UK likely to follow in Britain's footsteps in the near future. In his March 2020 article, he added, however, that the EU could disintegrate by countries partially leaving the bloc. He said, these partial exits involve member states not complying with the EU rules, for instance with respect to public finances in the Eurozone, Italy, or the Schengen rules. Many member states have introduced temporary national border surveillance since the migration crisis of 20. Another partial exit is the desire to pay less money to Brussels, such as expressed by the so-called Hanseatic group of EU member states led by the Net, with member states potentially looking to exclude themselves from certain aspects on the European project. Mr. Vollaert warned that this undermines the functioning of the EU. He continued, these partial forms of disintegration undermine the functioning of the EU. Its rules are less respected, and it gets fewer resources to function properly. In such a scenario, the EU would gradually bleed to death. Despite this, the expert believes the EU can turn this around. Mr. Vollaert added, however, such a gradual process of dissolution also provides the EU with time to address causes of dissatisfaction, such as the democratic deficit, and lukewarm feelings for the integration project. As long as there is no good alternative outside the EU, dissatisfied member states will continue to participate, even if the European Union will muddle through. The Netherlands remains a vocal advocate for the frugal nation's interests as the countries demanded a rebate as part of the recovery fund.